Chapter 52. The End of the Beginning Again. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Gird up thy loins now like a man, I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou even make void my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me, that thou mayest be justified? Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a fishhook, or press down his tongue with a cord? Canst thou put a ring into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a hook? Will he make many supplications unto thee, or will he speak soft words unto thee? Lay thy hand upon him, think upon the battle, thou wilt do so no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Tanakh. The planet turned from day to night to day again. We sat at the squat, starving in our otherworldly routine, exploring less, rehashing more. With the dawn joint, we saw heaviness had arrived. All was gray, no sapphire, no ruby, only gray, and the air was weighty. We were mostly using meth instead of food, but the day before we'd ordered eggs, and the war criminal's wife said we had to pay our tab first. It was all as ominous as the morning was gray. Our money was low, and there'd be no credit. Our days were numbered. The war criminal mumbled something. Bill translated, saying, he says let them eat meth. I said in my head, here we are, at the end of the road, man. The end of the fucking road. But we weren't gonna talk about it. It made the absurd oscillations of do what you like reverberate with irony, hedonically replaying it again and again in the growing grimness. But there was a short intermission that didn't lighten my mood much. Bill at least synthesized some enthusiasm. After sunset, the sky broke up into high disk clouds going south, bright as the side of a silver fish in clear water, a full moon streaming. Instead of thinking about the fix we'd slid into by our self-induced continental drift, we opened the chemical floodgates full as the moon growing up out of the misty sea, and were drawn like pilgrims walking on their knees to the Virgin, to the opposite lunar plateau. In this clean white light, I was hoping for the flip side of do what you like, presence of the Lord, but it wasn't coming. We forded the ankle-deep river, coming from the simmering mangrove swamp, slowly draining its shining waters. In an eddy on the opposite bank was a nest of lustrous, black, lapidary smooth stones, of the exact kind my dad collected from beaches he'd walked. Each one rolled up and down for eons in the sand slurry, rolling in silica, knocking off the black basalt chins and elbows, until they were uniformly round and polished to a finely hazed semi-gloss surface. I reached my hand down slowly, like a dowser finding the perfect one, while my eyes were in a quivering vision of sand and stones. The chosen one was irregular, slightly kidney-shaped, the only one like it in the bunch. I held it in my hand like the bent galaxy of another dimension. Bill was uncharacteristically at peace, above on the lunar plain, under the engorging moon that told in whiteness that the rivers were thawing in the Northland. I moved upward and stood with him in the rippling moonlight, staring at the plateau amid the saw-toothed spires and twinkling sands, rode in black volcanic teeth like the mouth of a blood-sucking eel. Teeth made of hardest rubber, rubbed in oil, coarsely dimpled and shining. Polar opposites in one sense to the black kidney in my hand. In another sense, they were interdependent. All the stones on the stone-littered plain were spit from the same volcano, but shot through the sky in different epochs, at different temperatures, speeds, and viscosities. In my hand, the smooth stone had rifled straight through the sky, landing like a bullet on the sand tumbler beach. But the lunar teeth sprinkled about must have sprung out haphazardly, in a wild, gyrating, parabolic birth, thick in chaos, complexity, and chance, to land above on this sand plateau offering to the moon, to vindictively bite the sky for 10,000 years, mouth choking with sand. Again, my dowsing hand picked a jagged tooth at random. The one a smooth pill, the other gravel in my throat. I was gripped by the old recurrent dream of the white cloud, transitioning by a picket fence into dark and cold purple gnarl, the smooth and the rough, the faired and the knotted, one fixed and broken by the other, bouncing back and forth, my eyes moving between two states, as if between sky and earth, birth and death, sun and moon. And I said to Bill, the dynamic of dualism, but Bill didn't respond, so I said, like cell division. Still, he just chewed his cheek, looking at the horizon. I pictured the judge's gun, blazing in pearl and chrome, hypnotizing Bill in visions under the moon, in a trans-fiction as reactionarily impotent as having a death's head on your hat, and just as likely to lead you astray. Yet the demon gun pulled on Bill's wang in all he talked about doing to Mr. Shum, trying to get an atrophied leg over on the starry night spread out in one mind. I couldn't really tell where Bill's head was at when he said, "Let's go back." Visions, spirits, dreams, and memories bathed the night in a singular feeling, bombarding us with messages from the crusty crustacean within and from the infinity above, all timelines jumbled together in such a mess that there was no order, no limiting rationale. I was looking hard for boxes to put these in, a way to categorize and own them, use them for my own ends as humans do. But I was too blown out to have an end, and too far adrift to have any means, much less any justification. The superego I filter was not functional, and the spiritual jet stream was set on blast. Sadly, I dropped both stones. Then, in indecision, I picked the smooth stone up and slipped it in my pocket, saying I'd take it to my dad. We returned to the squat under a sky of hardening, broken white shards, with a strong white moon following, Bill's bleached hair looking like white snakes. Casting our shadows before us, we walked as elongated caricatures, as nimbus pieces fluttered over, a last bastion of stillness that was departing. And those cloud omens of grayness re-emerged darkly on the northern horizon. I walked behind him, his sun-bleached hair tendrils white in the moonlight, writhing like white snakes on his head, each snake thinking about the road north. The fear of the grayness was on me, a rodentine fear, jumpy and darting.